All right, BURG Sports followers, welcome to our first episode of the Dugout featuring the Freedom Eagles. I'm welcome here with Coach and some of the players. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're pretty pumped to talk to you.
So, obviously last year, COVID kind of messed things up. There wasn't a season. So for you guys, individually as a team, how did you guys, despite not having a season, how did you guys stay baseball ready?
Well, I look forward to letting the guys give you their impression. From a coaching perspective, I think our sport's pretty unique compared to some of the others in that all these guys play on some sort of travel or showcase team. So there were a lot of restrictions on us from the Virginia High School League, which made it, difficult and then ultimately just completely impossible to do anything. So as far as staying ready, for me, I had to live vicariously through a lot of text updates from them. I mean, there was a while there when we were permitted to practice, we were getting out onto the football field and doing some sprints and agility. And we started after a while, getting started, doing some tee work and some ground balls. And then the restrictions, heated back up and we were shut down. And again, living vicariously through the, their own respective teams and them being resourceful on their own. But I'd like to hear some of their anecdotes of how they stay fresh.
Yeah. So like Coach Wright said, of course we had our travel teams, but one thing we tried to do is, stay together as a team. So we of course had our text group chats and all that. So we would text each other and meet up and, go hit, go field, do everything we needed to do. So we might've not been able to like have team practices or whatever, but we found a way to, meet up and do what we had to do. So it worked out.
Yeah. Like Casey said, we would meet up we text each other and meet up at like an elementary school to long toss and stuff. We'd hit outside at like Burns Ridge until we got kicked off because of the restrictions. But yeah,
it was tough, but we found a way to do it. So,
and then obviously Coach has been coaching at Freedom for a while now, and this is kind of a question for for everybody. The guys before you have played on at the college level. Who's kind of helped you along the way on your baseball journey at Freedom?
Yeah, well, me, I started as a freshman and I got pulled up halfway through the year. So I got the opportunity to play with the guys like Kyle Schofield, Will Schroeder, Jack Fitzgerald, and they went on to play at good baseball programs. So of course I had the luxury of having them around. So they taught me a few things and I kind of observed and watched how they took care of their business. So that helped me. And then of course he got called up the next season. So
yeah, when I got called up the next season, my freshman year, biggest person I looked up to was Ben Williamson because he's going now to play at William & Mary. And then I also look up to Casey because me and him, we hit, we throw, we field, we do everything together. So.
And then, as I mentioned with the players coach, you've had a lot of players, play at the college level. For you as a coach, what is it like to see those guys go on to the next level?
Oh, I mean, obviously it's very rewarding and while that is rewarding to see them going on, I think it's one of the hidden stories people don't hear about are the guys who decide not to go on. And we've had dozens of guys who decide, not to play at the next level because it's not necessarily a good fit for them. So for those guys, I love following up with them and hearing their fraternity stories and intramural club sports stories because those are fun for me. But then obviously the college updates are great. And it certainly keeps me busy looking through box scores and trying to scroll through, live streaming. And it's fun just to see how they, sort of reinvent themselves at different programs, across the state and really across the country. So it's rewarding and fun and exciting all at the same time.
Okay. And then, as we kind of mentioned, the COVID and the restrictions for you guys, when you guys were able to, go back and work out in the gym and stuff like that, for you guys, individually, what's the biggest thing that you've learned through this whole process? Is it to be more patient, to watch more film? What have you learned the most?
Well, for me, as a coach, I definitely learned how to be a little bit more tech savvy because there was a time where we were filming drills and sending them to the, to the kids. so that, helped us sort of reinvent ourselves as coaches from an instructional format and, try to make it, interesting, but also not make too long-winded of a video and just sort of send them, some training and drill. So from a tech standpoint, that really helped me out. But then patience for sure, patience. And, you talk about trust in the process, it sounds very cliche, but for us, I mean, we had to trust and put a lot of responsibility, in the players themselves. And, it was, sort of funny to hear their anecdotes when, they would tell us that they were getting shooed off, a county field or whatnot, which I can think of probably 101 other bad things they could have been doing. But so that in itself, just knowing they were resourceful and, wanted to still work and train together. And it was nerve wracking, but now that, we're on the heels of getting back together, it's like waiting for Christmas here a little bit, getting a countdown the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Like Coach said, being resourceful. It's cool to see like the guys on our team building bullpens and, building their own squat racks and all that, because we got everything taken away from us, like our gyms and all that. So, I think the best players are the ones that are able to work around that and find a way to keep working, which is what we had guys do on our team. But yeah, now that we're getting to crunch time, the season's coming up, we finally able to get back in the gym and start using our hitting facility again. We're pumped. We're ready to go. We've been waiting for this time. So
Yeah, one thing that I've learned is like just not to take anything for granted and just to make the most out of everything. Because what happened is we lost the season. It sucked, but we're getting close to this upcoming season, and we're all excited.
And as we've done this in the past before, with our previous season that we did in 2018, and we've been doing it with football. We want to help you guys out to help you guys get noticed. Obviously, you guys are committed, but for your teammates who aren't committed, and Coach, if you want to share who for the college coaches that follow us on Twitter, or we'll be tweeting this out to, who should they look for out at Freedom?
Wow. Well, first off, Cal Henderson, who probably, is not committed, who's on this call with Casey Cook. But that being said, Cal Henderson is surely a high follow for colleges. And he's one of the guys I've lived vicariously through his updates. He's traveled the country. But man, that really I feel like we have a very talented roster, and I don't even, want to jinx it. But ultimately, we have Nathan Chen, who's a multi-sport athlete. He's a football player. So he'll be coming. He's going to have to, juggle coming right from football to baseball. But in the outfield, he's going to be very, talented for us. We got several good arms on the mound. We all, talk about that. I mean, it's going to be really hard to figure out, what our rotation is going to be, because while Kolarov and Taddy are some household names and they both are committed, Darren Osborne, Greentree, Prohl. I mean, there's a host of guys, Morrison, that are all going to be just competing and battling, on the mound itself, which is going to probably be pretty fun for us to figure out how to make that rotation work. But this year, with the condensed schedule being compressed, it'll be sort of a blessing in disguise having so many arms, because with the forced days rest and, being smart with the pitch counts, I think that'll sort of, help us out.
yeah, it's hard to even like, you almost want to keep going on and on about these young kids that we have that are going to fight for a lineup spot in the lineup this year, because we just have a ton of depth, and of course it's a good problem to have, but I just feel like we have a ton of younger guys that are going to be looking to find a spot to play, but it's just hard because we have a ton of seniors. But I'm sure, because it happened to me freshman year, I was told I wasn't going to play because we had a million seniors, but I found a way in the lineup. So I'm looking forward to see if we can have a freshman or sophomore find their way in the lineup and fight for it. That'd be cool. But yeah, I have no clue what's going to happen with our lineup or any of that, but I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, neither do we. Look, Casey Cook's a good story, because I mean, he's a household name. Everyone thinks he's a stud hitter and should be on the left side of the infield somewhere. But like he just told you, he played first base, and I mean, you could argue maybe we did it wrong, but I mean, we were in the state tournament, so we did pretty good that year with a freshman, and we figured out, where where it would benefit his skill set, but also, the players around him. So when we go back through that list and, throw out different, young names, and the names I was barking out before were just really juniors and seniors. Our sophomore class is ridiculously talented. And I, to Casey's point and Cal, interjected earlier, I mean, it's really tough to figure out how those sophomores are going to fit in the lineup, but some of them are going to, let alone, maybe a freshman or two. So we definitely are going to have a great competitive atmosphere. And so, like any chemistry experiment and trying to get the right algorithm, I think we'll be able to get it right, before it matters. And, we end up in the regional. So I look forward to that, and helping these players, develop just as men, and helping us, hopefully hanging a banner in the gym.
And then this one's for the players. What have you guys, throughout your career so far, what have you learned from Coach, and how has he helped you on your journey?
Coach Wright has done a lot for us, and he's always pumped to be at practice and at games. He loves the sport and loves being around us, which we love being around him. Even though he yells at us from time to time, but still loves being around him. He's a great coach, and love playing for him.
Yeah, we could go on and on about the Coach Wright stories we have from our years at Freedom, but no, like the way the coaches develop us here at Freedom, not just in baseball, but just in every, just life in general, it's great. But I think we have some of the best coaches, and we've got a year and a half taken from us so far already. So we all we want is a full season. We miss the coaches, the players, and all that. But no, the coaches have been great to us. So we're excited for my last year and his junior.
All right. Well, my last question for you guys. I know we could keep talking on about restrictions and COVID, but for you guys, personally, especially for me as a media guy, I can cover games. I had to do a lot of MLB games, stuff on Zoom. How much MLB did you guys kind of watch, and what did you learn from those guys? What they went through in that kind of season?
Well, of course, I remember going on social media and seeing what some of the MLB players were doing in their off season to keep working, and I took from that, and I found some drills to do in my house where I couldn't have a facility, or some hitting drills that some of the big league guys were doing, and because of course they're big leaguers for a reason, so they know what they're doing, and I think that's what I took mostly from it. But then the back end of the season that they got the short little season they got to play. I wouldn't say I really learned anything because it was just same old baseball, but it was good to see them finally play and stuff start to happen again. And I was watching a lot because I miss just watching a baseball game after sitting in my basement for what felt like a million years. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, like you said, how he picked up drills. I picked up catching drills from different catchers, college and MLB, just based off their social media. And yeah, just watching them get back on the field was nice. Wishing we could too.
And Mike, from my perspective, watching it, and I know there was all the fans wanted to be in those stadiums and they wanted to see the games, and obviously there were restrictions and there were no fans. And as we know, that the players wanted the fans just like the fans did, but at the end of the day, there's, certainly some parallels now, because it's obviously a very heated debate in baseball or all these sports with the parents not being able to come or limited. But I think it just sort of puts it in perspective. You're watching the professionals who thrive off that energy that's in those huge stadiums. But at the end of the day, I mean, they play for the love of the game, and they're competitive, and they're typical alpha males trying to beat one another, in a competitive contest. So while the fans weren't there, it was nice to see them at the end, and once they got into the postseason. But at the end of the day, it was still, you got to just still appreciate the game. And so I think for me as a coaching staff, we'll take whatever we can get, when it comes to playing with fans, without fans. I know some of these winter sports, once they go into the postseason, they had some travel restrictions with coaches and limited coaches. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers. So we'll take whatever we can get, as long as we can get, a game of baseball. I look forward to, seeing the first pitch, here coming soon in a couple months.
Yeah, we just want to play.
Yeah.
If we can't have fans, we can't have fans. We just want to get back out there. been too long.
Yes, I totally agree. People may not know, but we may cover a lot of, sports, but in Loudoun County, but baseball is personally my favorite. So I do have to throw that out there. Sorry to all the football coaches out there in Loudoun County, but I had to throw that out. Well, I do appreciate you guys joining us this evening. It was very fun to have you guys on. I look forward to covering you guys, very soon. We look forward to seeing what especially the guys can do. And, we ask you guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and BURG Sports will be at a Freedom game very soon.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
We appreciate you having us.